Hello all and welcome. Today we are traders battling it out for profits as we take a look at a classic Shark. Buy and sell shares. We'll be attaining dividends and manipulating these corporations to profit the most for the win. Now this one is low complexity, and this particular Flying Turtle edition of the game plays 2 to 6. It takes in the region of about 90 minutes, and we can see the designer and publisher at the bottom. Okay, let's get trading. Today's run through is just myself, and I'm going to try my best to reenact a kind of free player game. Now we've got the board here, and it does not look the most impressive in terms of the artwork, but the gameplay and the competitiveness is all in this 1 to 6 area here as we compete to battle over market share and increase the values of our companies and trade and these shares and have the most money and valuable shares for the end of the game to win. And we will kick off with literally no money and no shares. And all the shares start at 0 value here. And they've got 4 different colours. And the first thing you can do on your turn is you may buy up to 5 shares on your turn as a whole. So you might buy 2 shares before you kick off and then 3 shares after you've rolled the dice. You can sell as many shares as you want on your turn. So we've got no shares to sell and we've got no money to buy. So we're literally going to roll the dice, and you have to roll the dice. Now, one of these dice is 1 to 6, which dictates these areas, and the other dice has got 1 side for each of the colours, so that's 4, and then you've got 2 blanks, which are kind of jokers, and you can pick the colour of your choice. So what we've got here, we've got a 4, and we've got whatever colour we want. So let's just say the first player is going to place a yellow marker out. Now, this will trigger an increase the company started out, so it's going to go at 1, and this only occurs for the startup one. If you put another one here in future, it is not going to increase the size of the company. Now, this player is going to get £1,000 payout for having placed that, and the share value has increased by 1. Now, they can buy a share with this 1,000 up to 5, so we're going to go and buy a yellow share there. Right, next player's up. They've got no money, and they ain't got anything to sell, so they've got a 6. Let's say they go greens, and then they're going to go on this boundary here, so the share price is going up 1. They're going to take £1,000 and they're going to buy a share immediately in green or yellow, but they're going to go green in this case. Next players up, they got a green and a 3, so they're going to go maybe here on the border. So we've created a chain of 2, which could be, well, it's going to be beneficial for that previous player who had the shares. Now, you can't see the shares, they're just our camera view at the bottom, but I'll keep these at the bottom along with the money as well. So if they did just go, say, here, they'd get £1,000 for just having placed an isolated token. But the share price would not go up because it is only going to go up from now on if a chain is formed, which would be this. That would be a chain of, or a group of 2. So if they go here, they get £1,000 and nothing happens. They have not increased the share value. If they do go here, which they're going to do, they are going to, if they've created a group of 2. So that increases the share price by 1, and that player gets the new value of that company. So they're going to get £2,000. And the price difference now, so there's a bit of maths in this game, was from 1 to 2, so the difference is 1. So anyone who has a share already in green is going to get £1,000 dividend payout. And if you have more than, that's per share. So if you have 10 shares, you're getting £10,000 just for that 1 incremental increase. And over to the next player. Well, they could buy some stuff, actually. They've got £2,000 here, so they're going to go and buy 2 yellows then. So they're going to diversify a little bit. Okay. Next player up, they've got a 6 and a yellow. Now, it's an illegal move to go here because you are smaller and you can't go next to this larger group, sort of get taken over. So you have to go somewhere that doesn't force you to be taken over. Now, if it was green, and they could go here because they're going to gobble up this yellow and remove them from the board. So we're going to maybe go over here, because, well, we want to stay away from the greens, and we do have a yellow share, so we don't want to be gobbled up just yet. For placing an isolated one, we are going to get £1,000, and we're going to spend that straight away to take another yellow share. Okay, next player is up. Now, remember, you can buy up to 5 if you've got some money, or sell, but we're not going to do that just yet. We're just going to roll. They got a 6 yellow as well. We're going to place that one here. Now, they have now formed a chain, so it's going to go at 1. We've got a chain of 2 on the board. They're going to get 2,000 payout for the new value because they've increased the value of the company, and anyone with yellow shares is getting paid out as well. So these guys and these guys have got £2,000 coming their way in dividends. Okay, the next player, we've got a free, and we can choose any colour. Now, they've got currently 2 yellow shares. Are they going to place a green around that, or maybe just set up in something else? Let's just go for a red. Now, that's the first red to be placed out. They're going to get £1,000 for doing so, and they are going to now buy, at the end of having rolled the dice, 3 shares in red because it's cheap at the moment. They're hoping to bolster up that company's market share. Next player is up then. We got a 4. And they're going to pick yellow in this case. They're going to place that there. And they have increased the price by 1. But we've got 2 chains out there, a 2 and a 2. So it's actually going up to 4. So they're going to get 4,000 payout straight off. And each share, they've got 2 shares. So that was an increase of 2 per share. So they're getting another 4,000 for that. These guys have got 2 shares. So they're getting 4,000 as well. So the bigger those increases, the more dividends each of those shares is getting paid out. Okay, back around then. So we got a 5. And they are going green. So we pop this one up here, we increase it by 1, a chain of 3. They're going to get a £3,000 payout because they've increased the value, and each share in green is going to get 1,000. So they have got 1,000 dividend for that one as well. Are they going to buy or sell anything? Maybe they're going to go and buy a couple of reds. They'll buy 3 reds just to kind of diversify a little bit there. Now, you'll notice that buying and selling does not impact the market price here. It's only the building of these tokens on the board and taking off, the destruction, being a shark and impacting your competitors that will decrease the value, which we will give you a demonstration in a moment. So let's just do a couple more rolling of the dice, then I'll give you some scenarios. So these guys have got a 3 and a red, so they're going to place this one here, which is great actually because they've got 2 shares in red. They've formed a chain, so it is going to go at 1. They're going to get the new quoted value, so 2,000 is coming their way. The value went at 1, so they're going to get 3,000 for those shares they've got, and these guys as well are going to get 3,000. Okay, we'll do one more roll for these players. We've got a 1 and a yellow, so we're just going to plonk that here, and they're going to get 1,000 for having placed an isolated share. Okay, so what examples have we got? Let's say the next player, well, the player rolls a 3 and a green, and they place this here, increase the value of this to 4. New payout to them of 4 grand, and all the shares are going up a dividend payout of 1. Now, let's say someone puts a green here. Firstly, the new share value is 5. The reds are going to get taken over, so they're eliminated from the board. You don't replace them, you just take these off the board. Now, these do not go back to the supply. They go out of the game completely. So once, there's no tokens, so you can see out of camera view, I've got a load of tokens to the left of the board here, but once there's none of these remaining, that triggers the game end, or if one of these companies hits a value of 15, and I'll demonstrate how that's achievable. So now the value is going to go down to 0 in this case for red, and any player who has a red share is paying back to the bank the difference. So 2,000 was the difference in this case. So these guys have got 3 shares in red, so they are paying 2,000 back for each one, so £6,000 back to the bank. So be mindful, if you don't have enough funds to do so, you're having to sell other shares at half the current market value, and if you don't have enough money even with that, you're out of the game. Boom. So now another scenario, let's say this takeover was still going to happen, but there was another red isolated over here. Greens would take over here. This would have come down. But because there still is one red out there, the actual minimum market value there is still 1. So just bear that in mind. Now, in terms of hitting this 15, you can see this green is getting rather large. And what we've got a value of 7. So let's say they're on 7 here. Once you add another one to this, anything more than 7 does not increase the value. So there's some variants where I believe you can get an extra £1,000 for having just placed an additional one on. In this particular variant, you don't in this version of the game. So it's probably not worth your while adding on to that. So you're probably looking to have 2 lots of 7. And that will give your value of 14. So what we've got here, 8 there. So, at the moment, this company will be valued at 14. Another isolated one would not increase it. But if at some stage you had this scenario, you got a 7, a 7 and a 2, you've hit that, well, technically, 16, but you've hit the top end of 15 and you've triggered the game end. Everyone will add up all the money they've just accumulated throughout the game in profits. They'll sell all their shares at the values of the market, and the most money is the winner. Now, it probably wouldn't look like this. Well, all these shares all the way down here. But literally, turn overview, you may buy up to 5 shares on your turn and sell as many as you want. You have to roll that dice. And then the third thing is you're paying the profits if the price did increase, and all players do that now. On that takeover, I should have said earlier, once the Reds took over here, the player who initiated it, very important, is exempt from paying those costs. So it might be in your favour sometimes to just drop the price, so then you could maybe buy more in there. And it's a bit of luck as to what areas trigger, and you might not be fortunate enough to have sway of influencing the size of that organisation, but a nice little twist there. And that's pretty much it, really. You just try to get that cash and in and out and manipulating where these are, and it's fascinating as the suddenly one area's becoming larger and larger and potentially taken over, and you're like, right, am I going to sell out of those reds now in the case this gets taken over? And you can see if the greens get larger and larger, there can be a weird sort of scenario where you might have something like this 3 and this 7 here. So what you got, let's just take these off the board. You got 4, 5, 6, 7 and a 3. Now, that at the moment is a value of 10, so it'd be at here. But if one of your competitors put this here, you've actually got a value of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, but it's 7 max, so the value is too large for that particular market. It comes down to 7, and the greens are all of a sudden having to pay, what was the drop, 3,000 per share? So some crucial strategies in this game as you manipulate it as best as you can. And there we are, folks. That is Shark.